You are born in 1881 in Dumenza, a village so small it barely earns a dot on the map of northern Italy. Your father is a laborer, your mother raises 8 children. In a house where the winters are long and the future looks exactly like the present. You learn to paint, not canvases, walls, plaster, ceilings. The honest trade of a man who works with his hands, precise, patient, capable of holding a brush for hours without your hand shaking. These skills will matter later in ways you cannot yet imagine. Growing up, you hear the same stories every Italian boy hears. Napoleon came through here, he took everything. Paintings off church walls, sculptures from public squares, manuscripts from libraries that had held them for centuries, loaded onto French carts like furniture from a house being cleared after a death. Your grandfather's generation watched it happen. Your father's generation grew up in the silence left behind. You grow up understanding, without anyone saying it directly, that something was taken from you before you were born. Not from your family specifically, from all of you, from the idea of what you were supposed to be. This does not feel like history. It feels like a bruise you press sometimes without meaning to. In 1908, you do what tens of thousands of young men from southern and northern Italy do. You pack what you have, and you go to Paris. Paris does not welcome you. The work is scarce, the pay is an insult. The apartment is a room with a window that faces another window. Then you get the job at the Louvre, contract work. The museum is installing glass cases over its most valuable paintings. Someone has to build the frames, install the glass. That someone is you. Your first week inside, you keep your head down and do the work. But the museum gets into you slowly. The scale of it, the silence. The way the light falls through the tall windows onto floors that have held the weight of centuries. You are a working man with paint on your hands, and you are standing next to things that will outlast everything you will ever do, or say, or be. You find her on a Tuesday, hanging in the Salon Carré, not dramatically positioned, not specially lit. Just a painting on a wall. She is smaller than you expected. Everyone says this, and it is always true. About 30 inches by 21 inches, roughly the size of a large book lying flat. Painted on poplar wood, not canvas, the colors muted by 4 centuries of varnish. You stand close enough to see the fine cracking in the surface, the age written into the paint itself. And then the thought arrives, not dramatically, not as a revelation, just quietly. Leonardo da Vinci was born 40 miles from where you were born. He painted this in Florence. He painted it in Italy with Italian light. And France has hundreds of Italian masterpieces, all of it taken, all of it sitting behind walls while Italy has nothing. You finish your shift, you go back to your room, you eat your dinner. You do not say anything to anyone. But the door is open now. The plan is almost embarrassingly simple, which is precisely why it works. You know the museum goes quiet on Mondays, closed to the public but open to artists copying the masterworks. Security minimal, corridors half empty. You know there is a storeroom where workmen sometimes wait between shifts. You know the painting's exact location, its exact height on the wall, the exact weight of the glass case you helped build around it. Sunday, August 20th, 1911. You put on the white smock. You enter the Louvre with the public. You find the storeroom. You sit down on the floor in the dark. You wait. The museum empties around you. Footsteps fading, voices fading, the heavy doors closing one by one. Then silence. The kind of silence that has weight to it. You sit in it for hours. Your back against the wall, knees up, listening to your own breathing. At some point in the middle of the night, you think, I can still leave. I can walk out in the morning with the artists, and nobody will ever know I was here. You think this clearly and carefully. Then you think, and then what? And that question has no answer that satisfies you. So you stay. Monday morning, the Louvre wakes around you. Distant sounds of staff, doors, the museum preparing for its day. You walk through the Salon Carré. Your hands are steady. This surprises you. You lift her off the hook. You carry her into a stairwell, your footsteps sharp and too loud in the stone corridor. You remove the frame. Your fingers are clumsy on the fastenings. You remove the glass case. You tuck her under your smock, against your chest, the painted surface facing your body. You walk toward an exit door. The handle is missing. You feel your heartbeat in your throat, in your temples, behind your eyes. The most famous painting in the world is pressed against your ribcage, and you cannot open a door. You stand very still, and you think about nothing at all. A plumber appears. Workman, Monday morning, going about his day. He looks at you. You look at him. Something passes across his face. Recognition, perhaps, or simply the mild interest of one tradesman acknowledging another. He opens the door with his own key, holds it for you, nods. You walk out into the Paris morning, the air on your face, the sound of the street, your own footsteps on the pavement, completely ordinary. The theft is not discovered until Tuesday. The investigation is enormous and almost entirely wrong. Poets arrested, artists questioned, borders closed, the Paris police chief resigning in humiliation. 100,000 people visit the Louvre in the week after it reopens. Most of them standing in front of the empty wall, looking at 4 iron pegs and a rectangle of slightly less faded wallpaper. They leave flowers on the floor beneath it. You read about this in your apartment and feel something you will not fully name. This is the part nobody talks about. The painting is in a false-bottomed trunk in your room, wrapped in red cloth. Every morning, you wake up in a room that contains an object worth more than you will earn in 100 lifetimes, and you go to work as a house painter. The first month, you are careful. You take different routes to work. You sit with your back to the wall in cafes. You notice faces. Who looks at you twice? Who looks away too quickly? By the third month, the carefulness has become something else. You stop going to cafes. You stop going anywhere you don't have to go. The apartment gets smaller. You know this is not the apartment getting smaller. You know it is you, contracting. You open the trunk sometimes. Not often. It feels dangerous even in your own room, even with the curtains closed. You unwrap the cloth and look at her for a few minutes. And then you wrap her back up and close the trunk and sit on the edge of your bed in the dark. The plan, to return her to Italy, to be the man who brought Leonardo home, still lives in your head. But it has started to feel like a story you tell yourself, rather than something that will happen. The newspapers have stopped covering it. The world has moved on to other things, and you are still here, still in this room, still going to work, still coming home. The paranoia and the stagnation and the specific rot of waiting for something that you cannot make happen until you make it happen. 2 years. 2 years and 11 days. In autumn 1913, you write a letter to Alfredo Geri, an art dealer in Florence. You ask for 500,000 lira. You pack the Mona Lisa into your trunk. You buy a train ticket. You carry her across the Alps in a compartment of ordinary passengers, the painting the whole world is looking for in the rack above your head. In Florence, Geri and the director of the Uffizi examine the panel. They check the inventory number stamped on the back. They keep their expressions professional, and they ask you to return tomorrow. What you don't hear is Poggi leaving the room to find a telephone. The police are in your hotel room before morning. You explain it calmly. Italy, Napoleon, Leonardo, heritage. The officer listens and puts you in handcuffs. The trial is in Florence. You speak in your own defense. The prosecutor points out you were selling her for 500,000 lire, 1 year and 15 days. Out in 7 months. The Mona Lisa hangs today behind bulletproof glass. 9 million people a year. The most visited painting in human history. Before 1911, she was known. Respected. Not yet an icon. You made her an icon. Not by stealing her. By the empty wall you left behind. The country you stole for gave you 7 months in prison. The country you stole from never forgave you. And the woman behind the glass. Still there. Still looking. With the expression of someone who has seen everything and chosen, very deliberately, to say nothing. You were the most successful art thief in history. You profited almost nothing. And the icon you created wasn't the painting. It was the empty wall.